Zong.
Ooh.
Okay, wasn't expecting Yu Zong here, but it does make sense. You want to dive in deep. Again, it makes sense with the composition that synergy checks with the rest of the comp.
How was the Yu Zong against a Lapu Lapu?
in lane?
Yes.
I think Mpl has to play safe till level 4 for sure. And afterwards, it depends on how well both players can try and use the sustain. Because generally the Lapu can build more physical, skill lifesteal items and kind of sustain back up. When it comes down to an all-in though, depending on how ahead one of the players are, the Yu Zong has a bit more value there. Because you kind of have a built-in regen plus damage at the same time.
But this is the answer from Geek. They go for Ruby, for Luke, one of his power heroes. We saw what he was able to do in the early stage of the series. Vexana, the next answer. So they have a lot of tools here. They have a lot of CC. They have knock-up from the Vexana as well. RRQ, they just need one more hero to close this out. Is this an Akai jungler? Are they gonna swap things around in the roam? It's the ultimate question.
Looking at this composition,
Just
they
say the
can go
front
for
row
more
is
pick-off too, to be fair.
I will choose my own
Alright, to
path.
see 4 seconds, it will be an Arlet.
Roam?
Roam?
Yeah. Arlet roam for Vin. Ah,
Oh boy.
not the best of win rates.
Power hero.
Power hero.
For the final game in this best of 5 series, will we be saying goodbye to Geek? Or will the Kingslayers prevail under the pressure, under the boot of the Monarchs? RRQ Hoshi.
We'll have to see. Looking at the composition so far, when it comes to, it really feels like RRQ are kind of liking the fact that they can really secure those neutral objectives. With a Yu Zong, with an Akai, they are overloaded with crowd control tools. In order to contest for that, you have to wonder for Geek, are they going to try and match it? Are they going to try and go for trades? Because we've seen them go with both situationally. But look at the aggression here. RRQ taking control of these bushes. They're the ones pressuring. And usually you see Geek fam just a bit more proactive.
Boy, getting zoned completely away from his own minion wave here in the mid lane, and I don't think he will be able to walk up here. He's just soaking in the XP. Vin, I was thinking about it definitely there. Jadera, Warrior Boots. Again, firmness, tenacity.
He wants to make sure that he can somewhat survive at least. Ray though, with the Inspire and the Concussive Blast, it's a utility, fast clear approach and play. Very careful about getting hit with that stun, but I guess that's, how much he fears the potential for Geek to just go in aggressively when you least expect it.
I mean, that's what you can expect in the mid lane, right? Again, Luo Yi in the early game has so much damage. Meanwhile,
They have to spin into the Furious Dive into all the vengeances you get from those resets. Straight for the turtle, it spawns in 4 seconds. RRQ strike first in game 5.
first blood, but only onto Vin up until this point, right? Hasn't reached level 4 just yet, and you can already see Vin going for the neutral objective. No contest whatsoever for Geek as they look for a mirror play in the top side. Can they get it?
Diversion, no. All the way up top. Vin cannot chase them. They're here just to relieve some pressure away from Skylar in this lane. A 2v1. Vin! Final slash from Beloyski back, forcing him to flicker.
This is a dangerous call from Beloyski. He went with the flicker, knowing that there's a lot of aggression, gap closing tools from RRQ. But that means he doesn't really have a Purify. So if Dawn feels that Chidera is too slippery or a boy is too difficult, too covered, he can still go for Beloyski. And this also forces a boy and Beloyski to kind of split apart unless they want to be comboed and knocked up together with a Petrify Furious Dive combo. So that Yu Zong pick is just looking more and more valuable as the game goes on.
The audience prediction, it's been up and down, honestly. Earlier on, it was like a 50%, 59% for RRQ, but we're back to 70%. I think after 2 convincing wins by RRQ, the Kingdom have rallied even stronger than before. But again, up until this point, back into the game, 3 minutes has elapsed. We're looking at 40 seconds to the next neutral objective. Irad level 6, Ray as well. What are we expecting here? Do Geek need to look for an opportunity, or do they just try and weather the storm that is RRQ?
I think they definitely want to weather the storm just a bit more. Everything, even the roamer, is just so aggressive from the side of RRQ. And Skylar here, knowing that he has the backup, goes in aggressive, chunks the members of Geek low. But hey, this is a similar situation. We've seen RRQ getting punished for this, but look at the boy!
Forcing another flicker, Vin. The flicker hunters so far this game. Beloy and a boy, both having to burn theirs. Right as the turtle spawns up top this time for RRQ, Irad wants to go for the steal, probably forcing out Ray with retribution, and he does get that. Boy caught him dispersion and the rotation once again in the mid lane, forced back. But this is the regular season Geek fam that we know with a Florian. Oh, a dive from Don. Eternal Guard no connects on to Don, and Luke is there to follow it up with a Donor Wolf King, and another final slash from Vin. The capitalization of the burnt flicker earlier. But now Luke tries to go for a trade, plays right there with his version, and pops into diversion as well. A pullback with I'm Offended. Vin's still able to survive for a bit right now as he gets chased down. Still the Vengeance resets though, and in the end, he will fall. He will crumble to the Appraiser's Wrap. The heavy spin up top will mean that Chidera will be pinned down even with a Purify right into the Petrify and the furious dive of Ton. Skylar munching on that turret.
This is so much value for RRQ. Everything is going right for them. Beloyski might be the next one to fall, but he's still able to get out. Regardless whether or not he fell, RRQ pushed this 1.2k. They got the turtle. They were able to get kills on the board. Vin was able to get a solo onto a boy, was able to buy so much time for them to eventually take down and punish Chidera. Things are not looking great for Geek if they want to stay and if they want to fly out to Riyadh.
Everyone from RRQ just stepping out right here. We saw Don make crazy plays in the previous game, and even in this game, just surprising both Geek fam and us on the desk. But Vin on the Arlet, despite the meme and the beliefs of the people that he hasn't really been able to play this, he seems to be really comfortable just waiting for all these opportunities, capitalizing, forcing Geek fam to really use all of their battle spells defensively instead of aggressively. And immediately they rotate towards jungle. They are playing this so calculatively.
Ray with the taunt, now when I'm Offended as well, trying to bait out that heavy spin. Irad saving it to the very last second and is able to escape.
Great trade of spells here for RRQ. They went for that play very, very early on. They're trying to shut down Ray so they can really get the more guaranteed neutral objectives. By all means, in the previous 2 games, the fact that they were able to get those lords so decisively is a big part of why they were able to actually find success and win against Geek fam. But look at this diversion. Back up top.
We're gonna look for a little bit more of time here. Despite Geek going for it, RQ want to clap back.
Oh, right with the final slash, Irad comes in to petrify onto Ray with now the Bloom coming back. And the Appraiser's Wrap not going to be enough to help him survive. He wasn't even able to let it get out. He got bursted down by Clay and Luke. Now in the midst of it all, caught, heavy spin, isolates him. Luke trying to run away. Guess it don't run Wolf into the Eternal Guard. And Chidera was on the chase, but not for long. They cannot lock any of the RQ members down.
That's a lot of damage coming in from a boy there. RRQ, they're doing great so far. But they need to remember, there's a lot of combos available for Geek fam. A big I'm Offended to a stun from Beloyski to the Eternal Guard can really spell doom for them if they are not careful about this. So they have to be aware and know that that is the kind of moments that Geek fam are just waiting to try and get an advantage from them through.
But Skylar's doing so well so far, right? 1-0-1. It feels like he's snowballing up until this point. I'm wondering what his items are. Luke in a 2v1 situation, not going to be able to defend it. That's a flicker.
Gotta pull, I'm Offended, trying to escape right now, but Skylar, Lycan pounce, that's a Bloom. Global healing is present. They will bait out that flicker away.
The RRQ just brute forcing the turret take though, right in front of Luke's eyes. So they've kind of shut down.
3-man final slash, but Vin finds himself in enemy lines. 2-1 done with a Petrify instant collapse! Skylar finds a double! And RRQ, the kingdom erupt once again.
It's a 4-1 trade. That was a 4-1 trade. After everyone laughing at Vince Arlet, he goes in with that play and he makes it work. The follow-up as well was so impeccable by Dawn with the Yuzong. Never mind the trade. They get so much space. They get the turret in the mid side, and they have so much more control over Geek now.
The fact that Vin started the whole sequence, burns all the battle spells, all the counter-engage tools, and Dawn immediately identifies it. The Dawn comes in, lands the tail on 2 members, just deleting them. With all this pressure, RRQ can go for it, but I wonder if they're still cautious of whether Geek Fam are waiting for some kind of opportunity. They've put Vin in between the Lord and Geek Fam. It might just be a free one for RRQ.
But despite everything, right, Ray has still kept up with the farm, also at level 11 right now. But then they don't want to go for the risk. They're not going to go for the contest. This is a perfect turtle and Lord take, by the way, from RRQ.
It's so difficult for Geek Fam right here. Look at the items as well. Skylar with the Sea Halberd. It's going to be doing a lot of damage to Ray and Luke. These beefier heroes that should be at the front line. So it's not just Clay right now that's doing damage. Skylar is itemizing to be able to help out with that. Oh, look at Vin.
Again with the
What a
vengeance. Just trying to walk in front, trying to be a nuisance here. Look at RRQ though. Look at the way that they are using the waves. Trying to build up as many waves as possible with that Lord in the bottom lane.
Unfortunately for them, all those minions in the bottom side cleared by the Lord. They won't be getting gold for it, but they will be able to get this mid lane turret. That is plenty, especially against a team like Geek Fam that usually is able to really stave off all this aggression. And they're still going on the top side. They're leaving the Lord for way, way later.
So what's the plan now? The Lord is marching still. They still have 2 waves. It doesn't collapse at the right time, but it still is a push from 2 ends. There's still a tower in the bottom side, however. What is Geek waiting for? Is that a diversion? Oh no!
Oh! Divergence and a heavy spin here. Rad finds the pin onto Luke, but they're on another man's base. A boy finds a kill. That's Vin as well. That's 2. A greedy play from RRQ into the base of Geek Fam, and it did not pay off. Luckily for them, no shutdown, so they don't lose too much.
Wow, that came out of nowhere. I mean, we were thinking about it being a possibility, but it was just a bit too fast. And really, with the Lord coming in, they could have at least timed it, right? So that Geek Fam would have to lose a lot of HP in that base turret on the bottom side. But as you mentioned, Mirko, no shutdowns, still 4k gold ahead. And for the most part, Geek Fam haven't really been able to find a winning solution, right? Front to backs has been going for RRQ. Neutral objective timing has been for RRQ. Even pickoffs, RRQ has had the better chance because they have a heavy spin that can be used defensively, aggressively, in a team fight, or even for pickoffs. And they are just using that as a flexible tool, like a Swiss Army knife.
They also have Clay with the diversions to facilitate those kinds of interactions from happening. So Geek have been falling behind on literally every single aspect. We see a diversion play here. They don't necessarily find anyone just yet. They will be accompanying Skyler, maybe utilizing him as bait, but Geek, they don't take the bait.
You're playing it super, super safe. And let's remember, last season, Geek Fam were notorious for just staying in the base, weather the storm again and again, and then wait for the eventual comeback. This could be what they are planning on doing right here. With RRQ going on the Lord, though, you can see some maneuvers coming in from Geek Fam, trying to find some control.
Again, right, despite RRQ holding control, like you mentioned, Arashi, Ray is also level 13, so he's been able to catch up to Irad. So if they want to go for a 50-50, is it possible? Is Chidera ready for this team fight? Is a boy ready for this team fight, right? Because it really does depend on both of these players.
Ooh. Pushing Dawn to the bottom side.
Yep. Pushing Dawn to the bottom lane. Now Vin can go for an engage. Heavy spin into the back with the Black Dragon form used up as well. Irad secures the Lord for free. Geek Fam on the march, trying to look for a pickoff, something back, any sort of trade, but RRQ deny it.
It's insane how they played that, right? Because the best case scenario is Geek are able to kind of fend off the initial attack coming in from RRQ let them waste all their resources, but in that amount of time, it's enough for them to go burst in the Lord. So there was absolutely no opportunity for them to go for it.
I think the RRQ mainly, they weren't really planning. They didn't think that the Yu Song would have won them the fight immediately from there. But the fact that you're trying to set up for a Lord fight, and out of nowhere, on a 90-degree flank angle, a Black Dragon form just shows up. I think that definitely shook Geek Fam a bit, and that is what RRQ used to just immediately just burst down that Lord. Now with the Lord coming in, they're still not going for a 3-wave push, but they're making a play for the base turrets.
3-wave spin with a flicker forward with the final slash, but it gets baited into the base turret. Now as Ray is able to lock him down under the base turret. Finn with immortality, melted down by Chidera, but the enhanced Lord has done work. Up top, it's a base turret taken, and RRQ instantly disengaged. Geek Fam though, they want to continue. Luke marches on forward, but notices that RRQ have dispersed a bit too fast.
So let's go back and circle to that question, right? We're already at 14 minutes. Can Geek defend this? Do they have enough in Chidera, and do they have enough in a boy?
Chidera and a boy? I mean, Chidera can shred down the Lord if it's being used. A boy can clear relatively well, and with the Eternal Guard being an extra factor in the fights, I think we're looking, like you mentioned, Eternal, like you predicted, at a very, very long game, potentially. Skylar is a 2,600 gold ahead, already at full items, but Chidera only 1 item behind right here. I think that healing becomes a big problem here for RRQ. Florin, the longer the game goes, will be able to have technically more healing and lower cooldowns as well. So I think for RRQ, they have to really try and strategize and find a way to get a surprise play in the base. As I really talked about how Geek is just so good at just defending again and again.
So late game?
Late game will favor... I would put my money on Geek Fam when it comes to the late game. When it comes purely to like a 5v5 collision, which is why I feel like RRQ will have to find ways to get a big Black Dragon form or a big heavy spin or a big diversion play before they can really claim that victory that they so desperately want.
You probably take some more free enhanced Lords, but I think that ultimately will be only for them to pick up 1, 2 base turrets, right? But the ultimate end angle for RRQ is either a team fight or an evolved Lord. That's when Geek Fam are forced to answer.
That's a diversion. Yuzong is at the bottom of the map, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye out for him. Chidera is positioned in perfect way.
Finn gets locked down by the Lord that knocked him up. Now Ray in the midst of it all. It's going to be done. Rises to the back, but Eternal Guard catches him. Mortality used. Chidera ultimate of nature, but look at the choke point now with Luke able to find the Don't Run Wolf King around with a heavy spin, is trying his best to get rid of the Geek Fan members. RQ dispersed. Luke finds that I'm offended, but now Skylar goes in for a desperate play, fighting Maloyski, but will lose his life with Geek Fan chasing. It seems Skylar is still able to survive. He runs away with the GDS movement speed, but the Enhanced Lord will spawn up top. Geek Fam know it. They want to take the big plays. This might be the end. In the mid lane, marching down. I'm offended on the Skylar. Ray with a knockup.
Oh no!
They're chasing Skylar, but he has the GDS once again. Now the enhanced minion waves come down. And so does Vin. Dawn 4 seconds, Irad 11. An Eternal Guard. Trying to spot out the diversion.
Oh, no.
Ray walks up. Skylar is running for the hills for a boy, but he might be caught now. A boy running too far from his team. That Skylar picks up an unstoppable, a bait, and an elimination for Skylar.
That was a mid laner traded for a mid laner ultimately, but look at RRQ marching down in the mid lane. Skylar is still available. Vin and Dawn are on the way as well. These base turrets are going to be falling with everything on the line.
They find Luke with the final slash, and I'm offended, not connecting. RRQ slowly but surely marching down in the Kingslayer's base. That's a 3-man stun from Beloy. Luke with the Don't Run Wolf King with the Black Dragon form gets used up, and Ray is going to be isolated with a heavy spin. Finn also isolated in the back. Ray still able to survive right now as he gets so much sustain. Meanwhile, Finn, he cannot say the same thing. He shall crumble under the 3 members of Geek Fam.
2 base towers taken by RRQ, but look at the gold difference. Geek Fam is closing it And this is the signature Geek fam, the defense every single time when they know that their backs are clear, are safe from any play. We've seen that when it comes to items, a boy and Chidera now output damage that RRQ cannot ignore. And Skylar, being the early game hero that he is really struggling to keep up with the damage output from Chidera, especially in these short bursts of engagements that are reliant on big ultimates like the Black Dragon form, like the heavy spin. With 2 base towers, they can still go for a great play, a diversion maybe for a big flank, or just go for the Lord. But now it's getting scarier and scarier, less guaranteed as the seconds go by.
But even then, right, 30 seconds next for the next Lord to spawn, but look at the position that it's spawning in, right? It's on the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, RQ were able to get that inhibitor in the top side, so that in itself is working in favor of RRQ. With the fact that they still have the Luo Yi to play around with the macro, they have the Yuzong as well, in case they want to go for it. This is going to take extra amount of brainwaves from the Triple B to work out this macro, to work out this Lord Dance.
For sure. Looking at the items as well, Ray going for all, ability-based physical damage reduction, and Athena and Oracle. He knows that there's going to be ability-based damage coming in from Skylar, from Frey. He needs to be that extra frontline because Beloyski is not a tankier hero that can initiate or counter-engage. So right now, when it comes to just short trades, the Florin healing now becomes a big problem. Because even if RRQ can chuck someone down to half HP, unless they can really seal the deal and take him out, put him on death timer cooldown, it won't be enough. But with the waves pushing on the top side, RRQ, they're trying to play this as calculatively as they can possibly do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this possibly could be the last Lord of this best of 5 series. The way that this goes down is imperative to the success of the entire organization at Mpl Id Season 13. And if they still want a chance to make it to MSC, the pressure is there. The chaos is looming. The waves are pushing. And the Lord gets resetted?
RRQ, maybe a bit too cautious. Maybe a bit over respectful. 2-man, I'm offended, right into the stun. Chidera trying to go for some damage as the Black Dragon form gets used up, but that's all just a bait. Geek fam want to utilize these cooldown buffers to get as much value as possible. Ray very low, the Bloom still ready, diversion to the back line as well. There might just be looking for the end right now. The heavy spin gets used up as well, but Geek fam are forced back in the mid lane. The boys able to clear it out of the Eternal Guard. Skylar not able to dish out enough damage towards the mini waves to clear it out in fast enough. Momentum, pendulum, all swinging back in favor of Geek fam slowly but surely. Now Luke is chasing Skylar, but he has that GDS movement speed to play with. Both teams, once again, they stand by.
It didn't work out.
That was dangerous, man. A boy, though, able to clear the wave. What hasn't happened? And now it's back to the Lord Dance. But now look at the wave on the top side. It's meeting so much further outside of the base for Geek fam. They have decent control right here.
Bit of damage placed onto Luke by the Lord, though. This is an involved board. They'll be taking so much damage from it. Final slash, not connecting. Finn gonna be stunned up earlier. Eternal Guard knocking a rat up, doing some poke damage. Black Dragon form as well by Dawn. This is a window of opportunity. A 5-man petrified, but he gets the lead in instead. Now the Blazers run! Ray finds Iran and he gets the retribution! All objectives have gone to the Kings. All of the retries have gone to Iran. But one, the one that mattered might have gone to Ray, might have gone to the Kingslayers.
Irad and Dawn, they fall. And with them, possibly the entire kingdom will go down with them. 3 waves are pushing. Ladies and gentlemen, this Lord is marching down in the mid lane. 20 seconds left on the clock for Irad. 17 seconds left on the clock. Ray still needs to work down in the top side. Oh, but there they go!
But unoffended, finding play. Only Skylar, the crown prince in his own base, left to defend. They will slay the prince, they will slay the kings. 7-0 and proceeding to an 8-0. The Kingslayers continue their reign over the Kings.
They were once the saviors. They were once the key. But back here in the playoffs,